This video is going to talk about genes and probability and then teach you how to complete a Punnett square. So first, when we get started, when we're looking at genes and probability, it says, because the genes you inherit like a coin have a specific set of possible outcomes, the same principles of probability apply to genetics. Just like you can predict and test the probability of each outcome in a coin flip, you can predict and test the outcome of the passing of genes from parents to offspring, known as genetic crosses. So when we're looking at probability, because we have 4 different possibilities in our Punnett square, that means we have 4 chances. So when we look at our traits, this means that if you have a 1 in 4 chance, it's going to be a 25%, 2 in 4 chance is 50%, 3 in 4 chance is 75%, and then 4 in 4 chance means 100%. So we're going to come back to those percentages once we complete our Punnett square, but these are the only possible outcomes that we could have. So Punnett squares. What we're going to be using are these things, what are called Punnett squares. It's a chart that's going to help us to predict what the offspring will inherit from the parents. So in this case, it's looking at purple versus white flowers. One parent will be on the top and then one parent on the side. And what it does is it gives us an idea of what the offspring will look like. So when we do this, we're only using uppercase and lowercase letters. And in the inside, it's going to give us an idea of what the offspring will look like. Couple things that we need to remember when we're doing these. The first is phenotype. So try to remember phenotype, physical. They have the same beginning part of the word. And an organism's phenotype are the physical traits. So whether a plant is tall or short, whether a dog has brown fur or black fur, whether a rabbit has flappy ears or straight ears, or whether you have blue eyes or brown eyes. These are all examples of phenotype. Whereas on the other hand, we're going to look at genotype. With genotype, try to remember genes. These are going to be the combination of alleles that we have, and there's always going to be 3 possibilities. So you're either going to have 2 capital letters, which is homozygous or pure. You're going to have 1 capital letter and 1 lowercase, which could be called heterozygous or hybrid. Or you would have 2 lowercase letters, which is going to be, again, homozygous or pure. Homozygous and pure mean same, whereas heterozygous and hybrid mean different. So that's when you have the 1 of each. So for example, when we're looking at this fly, okay, the recessive trait are white eyes. Okay, so this fly or this bee has the recessive trait of white eyes. That means its phenotype, its physical trait, is white eyes, whereas the genotype are 2 lowercase b's. Okay, again, it's 2 lowercase because it is the recessive trait. So how we do a Punnett square. This one's already set up for us with 1 parent on the top and 1 parent on the side. So what we simply do when we want to look at this is we're going to say that parent 1 is heterozygous. Okay, so this means that it does have red eyes because capital letters always win, and the dominant trait are red eyes. So we put 1 parent up here, and then here's parent number 2, which also has red eyes. So what we simply do is we're going to pull that letter straight down. Okay, so we're bringing that capital B straight down, and then we're going to bring this capital B across. Okay, now we're going to do the same over here. We're going to pull this letter straight down into the box, and we're going to pull this letter straight across. And we always put the capital letter first. For this bottom box, we're going to pull this letter straight down, this letter straight across, and again, this letter straight down, and this letter straight across. This is going to give us our possible outcomes. So this means with 1 offspring, these are the different possibilities that it could be. So when we look at this again over here, dominant trait is red eyes. So for example, if the offspring is these 2 alleles, it means that this offspring or this bug will have red eyes. Over here, 1 capital, 1 lowercase. Again, capital letter always wins. So this offspring would have red eyes. Down here, same thing. This offspring would have red eyes. And finally, this offspring has 2 lowercase b's, which is the recessive trait of white eyes. So this does not mean that they're going to have 4 offspring. It just simply means with 1 offspring, these are the different possibilities that their eye color could be. So when we look at this, how you would finish filling this out is each square always is 25%. Okay, so when we fill it out down here, we're going to write the possible genotypes. So we have capital B, we have one uppercase and one lowercase, and then we have two of those, and then we have one lowercase. So when we're doing the genotype, we're going to put the percent chance that this would happen. So with two capital B's, the percent chance you would get is 25%. With one capital B and one lowercase, we have two boxes, which means 50%. And finally, two lowercase b's, only one box, which is 25%. So a quick way to check that that's correct is that this should always add up to 100%, and in this case it does. Then over here we're going to list the phenotypes. What could this offspring look like? So it's either going to have red eyes or white eyes, and when we look, 3 of these boxes result in red eyes, so that gives us a 75% chance, and 1 box represents white eyes, so that's 25%. Again, we double check. This does add up to 100%, so that's a good sign. Okay, here's a new one. This is giving us the scenario. It's telling us what's dominant and what's recessive, and then it's telling us what the parents are. So it's telling us that one parent is crossed with another parent. So first, it says homozygous green body. Well, homozygous means same, so I need 2 letters that are the same. And if it's green body, I know I'm going to be using capital B's or capital G's. So I'm going to put 1. So I'm going to put one parent up on top with 2 capital G's. And then it says that they're crossed with a purple body. So I am going to use 2 lowercase g's because that's the only way that you could have a purple body is to have the recessive trait. And my square is now set up. Now if you flip-flop, you put the capital G's on the side and the lowercase g's on the top, you'll still get the same answer. So it's okay if you put that on either one. Now when we do this, I'm going to simply drag down the uppercase G, drag across the lowercase g, same here, pull down, slide across, and then the bottom ones I'm going to slide down, pull across, and finally pull down here and slide across. Okay, now remember each square represents 25%. So over here for the genotype, I'm going to look. First of all, I don't have anything besides one capital, one lowercase. So the only one that I need to write over here for genotype is capital G, lowercase g. And that is going to be a 100% chance. So in this case, there's a 100% chance that the genotype is going to be capital G, lowercase g. Okay, because I don't have the other ones, I don't need to write it. You can. But since it's not going to happen, I don't need to include it. Then finally, the phenotype. Well, if I look at this, again, they're all the same. In capital G, lowercase g, the capital letter always wins. So that's going to represent green body. So in the phenotype, I'm just simply going to put green body. And that's going to be a 100% chance again. So again, because I don't have any purple, I don't need to include it. But that's going to be the phenotype. So all of those steps are all of the steps that you would be expected to do with a Punnett square. You need to figure out the parents' alleles, put them into the boxes, complete the actual Punnett square, then list the genotype, then list the phenotype.